Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Coding on Swiboe, the next generation text editor. Top of the what? Top here it is. I found my notes. Top of the show business. Not much. Just want to remind you people that I will not be streaming next week because I'm traveling to Hamburg. I'm going to ROSCON and IROS, and I'm looking forward to that very much. Yeah, so no stream next week, and then we'll pick up in 2 weeks after that. But of course, today and tomorrow we still have a stream. Today I'm a little pressed for time, so the stream will not be as long as usual, at least not if everything goes according to plan. And what I want to look into today is returning errors from the ABI. We talked about that yesterday a little bit. So we have a ton of functions that return something useful. For example, Swiboe disconnect returns, Swiboe connect returns a pointer to a client. But of course, there's no real useful way to signal that there are errors happening in this function. And that is true for basically everything else, right? We have some handling for RPC errors. So if an RPC returns with an error, we can surface that already. But there can also be a local error that happens. And we have to signal that somehow too. And that is what we are going to look into today. So basically what I would like to change is I would like to have something like a common error type, something like error, and I will probably just be a C, yeah, not U in 60, but maybe like in 32, something like this. And what did I do? Oh, looks fine. Yeah, so a C int 32 will be our error code that we return. And all functions will return this error code, and basically 0 signals that there is no error, right? And then we need some function to convert an error into some meaningful error message. That means, though, that our error reporting will not be as rich as it is in Rust, but that is a like the bitter pill we have to swallow because C is not as expressive as Rust. Maybe we can come up with a way to make that better, but for now we live with it. Okay, so let's start out. Basically, what we need to change is that instead of taking only a pointer to the socket that this Swiboe should connect to, we actually now need to do something like we would like to take also a pointer. And see, I don't even know if that is correct. Like something like a pointer to a client, something like that, right? And then this actually don't returns a pointer client anymore, that returns an error, right? And maybe we don't call it error because it might as well be a success, so let's call it a result. And up here we also import the pointer type now. And I'm not even sure if that is the correct syntax for that, but let's hope it is, and we'll see where we're going from there. So we need the C client loop. We definitely need this. Maybe do that in a different tab though. Oh, we already had that in a different tab. What else do we have here? We don't need that. Let's keep this. And here we actually want the swiboe.py file, I guess. No, the test.py file, right? Our cool Swiboe tests. And here we can see that is probably the only file where we actually call those connects right now. So that's the only place we need to change. Yeah, so it is defined in the library, and in the Python file is the wrapper, and then only in the test we use it. Great. So let's go back to the tests then. And here let's comment out everything but the most trivial test, right? First want to make that pass, and then we can go from there again. Wow, we've written a whole lot of tests already. Okay. Okay, so now we only have one call to Swiboe Connect, and of course we need to change that so that it is correct. But how do you do that? Basically what we need is something like a client, right? And this client is at the beginning none, and then we would like to somehow pass this client, right? The pointer to this client. But of course that is not valid Python, so somehow we need to change that to be valid Python, and I'm not sure how to do that in C types. This is the C types help, and it says passing pointers or passing parameters by reference. So that's precisely what we want. So there is the byref function, which is used to pass parameters by reference, which we never do. And the same effect can be achieved with the pointer function. Aha! Although pointer does a lot more work since it constructs a real pointer object. So it is faster to use byref if you don't need the pointer object in Python itself. Well, what? I'm confused. So we probably want to use byref then, if I get that correctly. So basically how I'm reading that is that the byref function simply passes a pointer to the particular function, and pointer somehow creates some sort of smart pointer that you can call functions on or so. I'm really not sure. So what I know is that pointer should work, definitely, and then we can try if we actually can make byref work too, which should be then more efficient. Okay, so let's start out with pointer. So the way I read it, I actually here have to say that is a Swiboe pointer client, right? We construct a pointer to a client, and then here we say C types by ref, pointer, like so. This is how I read it, and then we have a result here, and then we can do a self assert equal result is null, right? Though of course we would like a symbolic name for null, something like OK or whatnot. And we don't touch the Swiboe disconnect for now, so that should be still fine. Line to long. And of course C types is not imported here. All things we can fix. Okay, and then we go over and change how Swiboe Connect works, right? So Swiboe Connect now actually takes a well, how does it look in Rust? So basically we have a mutable pointer to a mutable client. Is it just like this, maybe? Something like this. Seems like it doesn't like that. So we need something like this, right? Maybe? Please? Yay! That seems to be working. So now we have a mutable pointer to a mutable client. A mutable pointer of a mutable pointer to a... Whoa. I can't even wrap my head around that. Basically we have a mutable pointer to a pointer to a mutable client. Is that how it is? Can we also just do this then too, because we don't want to modify the client? Who knows, right? I have no idea. Yeah, I think this is still perfectly fine here. For now we just basically say we return 0 all the time and we keep the unwrap just for the beginning. And now we would like to do something like this, right? So this is our client box, and then here we say our client box is actually transmuted to a client, and this is what we return. And maybe this works. Mismatch type, this says, because of course we have to somehow define a type we would like to have a type alias. Is there something like a type alias in Rust? Rust type alias. Type alias is Rust documentation. That sounds good. Type name equals string. Oh, that's easy. So we can say type is result, maybe. So we use result already in here. So, oh, we only use RPC results here though. We could also call it CAVI result, and that is a uint ellipse uint no, not uint and not 16, a in32t, right? And this can now be returned by Swiboe connect, CAVI result, something like this, and we're done. Maybe. A private type cannot be exported, which is fine by me. I just make it public. Who cares? Dereference of raw pointer requires unsafe function or block, which I think it's also, like, that's perfectly fine. It's not like we're doing no unsafe stuff already. So cool. So it did compile, and does it run? It did run. You know what? I feel that this was too easy. So I would like to have another test that does a little bit more sophisticated stuff. Let's pull out a function that does a connect def checked connect self, and it takes a socket name, and this is essentially those two lines, right? Or those few lines. We make a client, we connect to the socket name, and then we assert that the result is correct, and then return the client, like so. And then we can say here our client, that is now, instead of calling directly into the library, we call our self check connect call. And it works. That is kind of amazing. Really. Now I'm interested, does by ref work too, right? Because the documentation says by ref does essentially the same, but it's cheaper. And it seems to be working. Very nice. Very surprising, very nice. And now we can do what we promised to do so long ago, which is actually doing error handling. Okay, doing error handling. How do we do that best? Probably we should start out with, well, let's start out with this one, right? Basically, what we would like to do is something like we do a try call here instead of unwrapping. And now it will actually complain that it doesn't know how to do the try, because there is no way of converting a whatever we return here into a oh, that's unfortunate. It's not quite working the way I was expecting it to. So how's the try macro defined? Rust try. Try. Okay, So what does it do? It evaluates the expression and then matches on the result. And if the result is okay-ish, then it returns the value, which is precisely what we want here. If it is an error though, then it returns us another error object. And this is unfortunately not what we want. We don't want to return an error object. In this case, we actually would like to return a CABI object. But maybe we can still do this by implementing into. So I'm like, now I'm improvising, people. I have no idea if that works. So let's say impl into, and how does that look? Here, this is the trait that we want to implement. Basically, we import use standard convert here, and we say impl standard convert into, and into, and then just the type name, and it takes into and consumes it. Actually, we don't want to. Oh, what do we want? Actually, we have a from object, and we would like to convert it into a CABI result object, right? This is what we want. We don't want to implement from into. We want to implement from. Maybe. And that looks very much the same. And then we can say we actually would like to convert from our own error type maybe use Swiboe result. Does that work actually? Are we only using RPC result everywhere? Yes, so we can use Swiboe result, or we can be explicit and just say, well, we use from Swiboe, self, client, and RPC here. Then we can say from Swiboe result, and we would like to get back a CABI result, right? And then we can say from takes a Swiboe result object and returns a self, and then we say match if that is a okay-ish thing. And we discard the value, I guess. Then we return 1, and otherwise return 0, and otherwise return 1. Something like this, right? And it says unexpected token. Oh, because we have to say what we want to match on. Okay, of course this is only an outline. We have to be more specific in what kind of errors we are returning. And now let's see what happens. Import Swiboe conflicts with imported crate. So we don't need this. We can just keep it like this. Wrong number of type arguments. Expected 1, found 0 for the Swiboe result object. Yeah, that's precisely what I was thinking. Actually, we need to be like something like this, right? We have to say, well, we have a type and we implement this for every result object imaginable. And then we discard the value, which is not great. Type parameter t must be used as the type parameter for some local. Only traits defined in the current crate can be implemented for a type parameter. Well, that makes me sad. Really. So I guess we have to be either we can come up with our own macro, with our own try macro to do the conversion, or do it explicitly in each case. And for educational purposes, I just decided that we will do the macro because I didn't deal a lot with macros yet. So let's copy and paste the try implementation and go from there. Wonderful. Here we go. Macro rules. Of course, we cannot call it try because try is already loaded, but we can say something like try, or let's call it try C ABI. Yes, wonderful. And we always expect to get back a Swiboe result here. And now we can go from there. Something like this. We can say, well, this is 0. Or actually, this is val, right? If we want to continue if our call is successful, we actually want to continue with the value, but we would like to return, in case of an error, we would like to return 1, something like this. And this needs more cases to be more explicit. And now, well, I should use it somewhere too. Basically, what we want to do is try C ABI, something like this. What now? Oh, I still have this in here. This we gave up on. No, associated item name OK, found for type, core result. Okay, so it is actually just standard result, I guess. Convert we are no longer using, and for now, basically what we now changed is that we should get an error if the connect fails. Of course, we don't have any tests where the connect fails, so we cannot really know. So let's make one. Basically, test connect with invalid socket, and that is actually, oh, here we can actually change stuff around. We can say, well, client is a self-checked connect, socket name, and test connect with invalid socket. That has to spell it out explicitly, and now we choose a foobar bloop. That's like a random socket name that is not existing. And of course, our result should be 1. Hello parts, you're late today. Really late. Socket name is not defined. It says in 48. Right. Right. We actually don't need to pass the socket name here, huh? The socket name is part of our name already. Okay, and it seems to be working, right? Our connect with an invalid socket returns an error code as we expected to. And we kind of made a nice macro that will convert from our own error types to other like to an error code. And we have to flash that out for the various errors that we can encounter tomorrow. Actually, I wonder what happens if I actually match on this error. What does it say? All right, so actually we could be a little more explicit here and say, well, that only works for Swiboe errors, something like this. And then we match on the Swiboe error, something like this, right? Basically what we... So my problem right now is this is a macro, right? At this point in time, we are not sure what sort of error we are getting, but we would like to make sure that it's an actual Swiboe error here so that if we match, it will always work. Of course, the compiler will just shout at us if we use something else that is Swiboe error here. So I guess for now we can just assume that this is a Swiboe error and we are done. So basically we have to fill in this match tomorrow and then go from there. Now, the last thing that I want to do is introducing numeric names for successes. So basically something like const CABI, so maybe just success. Yeah, why not? And that is of course a CABI result. CABI result and is 0. So we can replace this naked 0 here through success. Maybe we can even introduce a C-like anim in Rust. C-like anim Rust. Parts asks in chat if that coding UTF-8 is built into Python. So basically, at the beginning of each Python file, I have this magic here, and that actually tells Python that the source file is encoded in UTF-8. I think it is also the default, so I'm not sure if you actually need it, but I think it's good style to have it. So yes, it is sort of kind of magic built into Python. So is it possible to have a C-like anims? Look at that. So in the collections crate there is a C-like anim. An interface for casting C-like anims to users and back. So we say our anim is represented as a usize. You know what? I feel that's more complicated than I would like. So we'll stick with constants. And we already have that. So if we build that now, and it should work. Okay, run the test. Oops. Of course, I have to tell the shared library, and that works. And now we bring back all the old tests, and for that to work, of course, we have to change all the calls to our client, which gives me another chance to mess up a Vim macro. I say mess up because it's notoriously difficult to get a Vim macro to execute right. At least that's what I learned. Basically, everything that looks like client Swiboe connect, right? Basically, everything that looks like that. We would like to keep the variable name, but we call the check connect. Okay, so at this point, start recording a macro, jump to the next equal sign, go one to the right, go one more to the right, then delete the whole line and execute self checked connect. And now we must not use tab completion or anything, because otherwise it will mess up. And then we jump to the next occurrence and we end the recording of the macro. And look at that, it worked. Macro magic. And if we execute our tests, they still pass. Wonderful. Okay, that's that for today. So we started today introducing error types from our C API, not necessarily from a RPC, into our code. We introduced this results object, and we have it here in Python defined. We have it in here defined, where we actually call it C API result to not clash with the built-in result type. And we started introducing this macro that will be able to convert our errors into meaningful error codes. And we used it only in Swiboe Connect so far. Oh, I wanted to try out if this also works. If we can actually pass a const pointer here. It's not complaining, and it's still executing. So this is slightly better than. Can we also do this? No, that should actually not work, right? Because we are mutating, yes. We are mutating that variable type. Okay, great. So I'll stick around on stream until I have submitted and pushed this stuff for questions. And after that, I am around in the stream for another 5 minutes or so. So in the stream chat. So if you have any more questions there, just post them. Otherwise, I'll see you people tomorrow. So what did we do? Started introducing error codes into C API. Actually, it's C API, right? We should maybe fix that over here too. It is not an API result, it is an API result. Oh no! Pushing this. And our work on stream is essentially this one. Okay, great. So I'm off. I see you people tomorrow. Bye.